Sagittarius, welcome to your weekly Sidereal Astrology forecast. This is for the week of the 7th through the 13th of November 2016. I'm Athen, and this channel is about using the actual constellations in the sky known as Sidereal Astrology. If you are new to the channel, be sure to check out the link down below because the signs are different, which means your sign might be different, and you'll want to watch this for the right sign. Alright, so Sagittarius, this week we have some shifting taking place. We have 3 planets changing sign. Right at the beginning, we have Venus going into your first house, Mars going into your second, and then later in the week, Friday, Saturday time, Mercury going into your 12th. So let's talk about this in terms of Venus first, because this is your first house. There's certainly this shift towards, I think, enjoying a bit of your values in life. You know, Venus in the first house, maybe values of yourself, you know, looking good, feeling good. It makes it a really good time for maybe going to the salon or doing some clothes shopping, or, you know, within moderation, so you can enjoy that self-image, enjoy self-esteem, the independence, the personal needs of yours. And I think there's just a lot of values and a lot of things to enjoy with that. You may also notice, too, an emphasis on relationships, which is often a Venusian thing. So, yeah, exchanging with others, cooperating, whether it's you know, business, whether it's romantic relationships, but all types of relationships I think can be emphasized at the moment. Now Venus does rule your 6th, so I do want to say this also places an emphasis on what can be a more active time with your work or your routine. Makes it a really good time for self-improvement, personal development, and also too with your aspirations. Venus rules that 11th house of yours, so future things, your hopes, your wishes, personal aspirations, maybe even networking, connecting with your friends, groups, community. All these things can be very enjoyable, and that's already an emphasis with the sun, which we'll talk more about here in just a minute. Now, Mars shifting into your 2nd house at the beginning of the week as well does emphasize a bit of energy that can be put into your values. And usually with the 2nd house, it's your material values, such as your finances and your resources. So a really good time to put some energy into that, and it really fundamentally starts with you you know, accessing that sense of self-worth, that self-reliance, and standing on your own 2 feet, and realizing that yes, you have everything you need. You know, your natural gifts and natural abilities are there for you to cultivate the things you truly value in life. Not everything we value in life, but the things you really value in life. And there's a great source of motivation here, I think, over the coming month or so with Mars here in your 2nd. It's just a really good time to put some energy into this area, cultivate those values of yours. And of course in Capricorn, it's all about the slow and steady approach to all these things. You also might find too that you know, your self-expression, you're expressing your values a bit more, because Mars does rule your 5th house. Mars also rules your 12th too, so there's this receptive energy about it. You know, even though Mars is active in your chart, he also symbolizes this going with the flow and understanding that things do come in divine timing, so to speak. And so that's also involving the whole financial thing, but I think it's a little bit of both active and receptive energy there together. Now, at the beginning of the week as well, the sun will be sextiling up to Pluto, so a really good opening for change. And again, I think that this has to do with your aspirations. And again, expanding your horizons, as it always is with the sun, because the sun rules your 9th. You know, whatever it is, philosophical, discussing, you know, expressing yourself when it comes to ideas, or going for walks, hikes, whatever expands your horizons there. But maybe connecting with friends and again, cultivating those future aspirations, because it's really the time for that. In fact, you know, next week, right at the beginning on Monday, is going to be the full moon. And because we had the new moon about a week or 2 ago, depending on when you're watching this, this is what's culminating, is those aspirations. What's also culminating is your career and your productive life, which has a lot of positive energy into it because you have Jupiter in the 10th. Okay, so there should be potentials here, and if not, at least some inspiration. And I would say certainly use that inspiration to be cultivating this productive stuff, career, legacy, whatever it might be. But yeah, it could be coming to a head later in the week, over the weekend. What's also coming to a head too is a greater understanding of your self-expression, of the things you're passionate about. It'll be very close to your 5th house, and also your work. All right, the full moon will technically be in your 6th house, which is about your work, your self-improvement, personal development, all that same sort of stuff, with Venus going into the 1st there. All right, and as you notice here, Neptune's very close to the South Node this week. They're going to go exact next week on the 17th. And so there is this past energy being released, and a lot of it does have to do with the more practical stuff and the mind. So if you do feel like there's some past patterns, if there's some things that are maybe holding you back or preventing you from really expanding your horizons again, because the North Node's in the 9th house, but helping you understand that yes, there's an importance of practicality in life. Yes, there's an importance of communication. There's an importance of, understanding things, but sometimes it can be taken to an extreme. And it can be an over extreme of maybe wanting everything figured out, or having, getting too caught up into the immediate stuff. But it can also be an under extreme if you've been feeling like there hasn't been enough of this, practical energy, or there hasn't been enough of this more everyday stuff, your immediate environment, exchanging, learning, using your mind. Then it's important to bring some balance back to this, to rectify this. And this is what the South Node's all about, is about making some changes here. And there might be some idealizations about a lot of this stuff, about the mind, about ideas. But whatever it is, asking yourself, is there a healthy balance with your practical mind, with your mind in general, and with your, let's say, exchanging in your life, communication, exchanging with others, trading, that kind of thing, your peers, your siblings even. Is there balance there? And if there is, great. If not, it's a great week for maybe bringing some balance back to this area again, so you can cultivate your future possibilities. This is your North Node in your 9th house, which is really the emphasis of this year and next year, helping you see the potentials in your life, tap into that adventurous spirit. And all of this is, again, very natural for you because this is your house, but maybe it's time to put some more energy into those things. And for some of you, it's philosophical or spiritual. That's another way of expanding our horizons as well. All right, so that's the backdrop as well, along with that full moon increasing. Over the week's end, Mercury is going to be shifting into your 12th house. So it's been a really good time for you to take seriously your alone time, your psychological well-being, your spiritual well-being, and take whatever actions are necessary with that. That's been Saturn in your 12th. But now Mercury is going into your 12th, so there's a lot to learn with this. Really good for listening to your dream space, meditation, anything on the routine. Your relationships are also going into, I think, a bit more of a receptive time, which is about unconditionality and acceptance. At least that's a very good way of working with it. And also, too, your career. Even though there's a lot of potentials here, there's something here where, I don't know, you're either working behind the scenes a bit, or you're cultivating your career in such a way that it is more in alignment with your soul, and more fulfilling in that sense. So some things to consider there, but all in all, I think just tapping into your receptive side is really important. All right, so Sagittarius, that's the week in a nutshell. I do also want to mention, actually, over this week's end, the sun will be trining up to Chiron, so there is a bit of rejuvenation and healing taking place for all of us collectively. And again, this is healing your aspirations, knowing that it is the time for you to focus on future things, possibilities, and potentials, and a lot of this can be very healing over the weekend. All right, so that's the week in a nutshell. The way I would sum this up most simply is that you do have Venus in your 1st house, which is about possibilities of relationships, maybe your values, enjoying the simple life there, the independence and work maybe, and those aspirations really getting fueled. And I think it's a really good time for focusing on networking and the career stuff. And this motivation can really be had towards your material values as well, with Mars going into your 2nd, motivating yourself there and cultivating those things you enjoy. All right, so Sagittarius, have a fantastic week. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all next week.